Chips have been on everybody's mind because they are not acting well. And the big dog, a stock that I own personally, Intel, has probably been the one that's acted the worst. And I've been trying, and we've been struggling on this show to try to understand how this great company may not be right for this market and what's the matter with semiconductors. This is Apjit Walia, semiconductor analyst at RBC Capital Markets, who has done, I think, the best macro work in understanding why the semiconductors aren't performing well. Give us your thesis, sir.
Well, what's happened itself is the semiconductor cycle lasts 4 years. This one started early 2002, and we're in the third year of the cycle. So we're about to peak out in the next month or so. And stocks typically trade when the growth is accelerating, and they underperform when the growth is accelerating. So we're right now in the middle of the year, as growth started to accelerate. Stocks peaked around January. What else has happened is semiconductor stocks have begun to behave more cyclically, or more deep cyclically. Commoditization is what's happened. If you run semis versus the yield curve from history till about 1995, you'll find they trade inverse to the curve. That's a growth cyclical sector, as we all know. But from 95 to now, and what you'll see from 2000 to 2004, they're trading with the curve. That's a cyclical sector. Now, who trades like that? International Paper, DuPont, electric equipment. So now we're becoming a cyclical sector.
They have to be valued. As they become more of a deep cyclical stock group, they have to be valued as such. Investors are not going to pay 25, 30 times earnings.
This is why his thesis has such gravity.
But let me go, sort of finish the thought on the yield curve, which I like very much. I've said this before. We have a positively upward sloping curve, which is a sign of economic growth. It seems to me the chip sector is discounting a recession, and I think it's going to go too far.
That's very much so correct. What's happening is that chip stocks are now beginning to discount things much quicker than they did earlier. So they corrected in Jan. And the peak is now, and you actually will buy them ahead of the bottom as well. So that's why I believe the bottom is not too far away.
All right, now a lot of the before the markups began in the stock market, a lot of the rancor today was directed toward three analysts who cut their numbers for, or at least guided lower for Intel. Can you talk about some structural problems at Intel? Again, I pure candor, I own the stock, but structural problems that are confronting this company that haven't in the past.
Sure, we initiated Intel a couple of weeks ago, and our big paradigm is Asianization, as I call it. That's going to affect the whole semiconductor sector, affecting Intel the most. 80% of the exposure to PCs right now. Now, where does PC growth come from as you go forward? India, China, Russia. Who's going to buy $2,000 PCs in that part of the world? Not really. It's going to be primarily a commoditized, low-end, Legend, Lenovo kind of PCs which are sold. Those are low-margin PCs, and Intel can't get the pricing or the price points, the premium margins they got in US and Western Europe as we go forward. What that does is, long-term, it'll suppress their multiple because the margins come down. You can't have a 50% or 60% margin structure anymore.
Power. There's just no pricing power in that business. But let me ask you this. A couple people I talk to like Texas Instruments in the medium term because they say it's cell phone driven, and therefore that's a better business right now. What do you think about TI?
Well, I think TI, of course, is better placed than Intel because they're not just specific to one market. You know, they got analog, they got communications. I mean, Intel's problem itself is they've got to go to the consumer. They've got to go to the communication segment. And, you know, you've got companies like TI, of course, you can go Broadcom, Marvell, ST Micro, which are widely diverse. And Intel has to go out there and look at some of those companies.
But I love what you're doing, and I really want all our viewers who are trying to understand this. I mean, you've related it to the economy in a way that no one else has, and it's just fabulous work that you're doing. Just fabulous work.
Apjit Walia, RBC Capital. We thank you very much. We're going to have you back. Keep scoring this. I like this. We may be coming towards the end. Maybe that's true for the whole stock market.